Hey everybody, welcome to the Change the World Marketing Tuesday Facebook Live. I have an interesting topic for you today, I think, and the topic is why some people succeed and others don't. So obviously, one could write a whole book about that. One could do years of research on that. And plus there are lots of opinions about it. And I actually want to debunk some of the opinions about that to some extent because I think they hurt people in certain ways. They stop them from being successful, and just give you some helpful hints to that will let you see maybe what might be stopping you from being successful, or maybe why you are successful. Who knows? So again, why some people succeed and others don't. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is the concept of karma, which comes from the ancient Vedic texts. It literally means action, but the way we use it is having the effect of your past action come back to you. And it's very similar. Sorry about my Alexa talking to me. Stop, Alexa. And so, it's very similar to the concept that we're more familiar with in the West of as you sow, so shall you reap. So you get a result based on your actions. This can seem very esoteric, but and the other problem with it is that we can't do anything really about our past actions anyway. All we can do is, do good actions in the future and hope that things will change. So it doesn't, I guess, thinking that it's just karma or it's just, predetermined doesn't really help you at all. So it's not useful in this sense. Okay, that's what I wanted to say about that. So there's another big concept out there called mindset. And there are countless people teaching money mindset, things like that. And a lot of it gets very esoteric as well. And I don't think that's a good way to look at it because I know people who take courses because they think that this person's going to have some kind of magic actually that's going to like turn them around, and all of a sudden they're going to make money because they're going to change their mindset. And it very rarely works. So, and I feel bad for people who are spending money on that and not getting results. So let's talk about that concept in a more concrete way. So one of the things has to do with that I think is reasonable and not esoteric is patterns or beliefs that you have from your childhood. My parents told me money doesn't grow on trees, for example, and so then you think that, the only way is to just kind of like put your head down and work hard, and that's the only thing. And it makes it hard for you to kind of, first of all, be an entrepreneur, like an online entrepreneur, because it just seems so vague and unsure. And there are lots of other things you might have been told or felt from your background. So discrimination, for example, is another thing where people feel like, I can't just make it on my own. There are like a certain paths that I have to take that will be allowed for me. And a third thing is that we grow up without seeing people take different opportunities, and so we just don't realize that they're there, and so we kind of narrow our search. I remember on the radio one time, I think it might have been during the pandemic, but I don't remember. This person, he was looking for a job in the restaurant industry, and somebody was saying to him, but there are jobs elsewhere. You don't have to be in the restaurant industry. He said, well, that was my mother's profession, so that's going to be my profession. And he was limiting himself, from that perspective like that. So we do have either experiences or things we've been told or whatever it might be, fears, that limit us, and we just have to kind of be aware of them and think, maybe I can do something different. So I think that's where the word mindset makes sense in terms of, again, influences from your childhood or influences from your current people you're spending time with now, or fears, lack of introspection, or just lack of experience. So then you have to educate yourself and find out what else is available. So another thing that I want to talk about is that some people blame others for their lack of success, and that also doesn't help. Okay, so don't justify not doing anything for some reason, or because maybe it's impossible. Don't blame others. So just you have to take responsibility for your own actions and act, and actually act. And in fact, one of the other things that kind of makes me sad is, you see these, they're called get-rich-quick schemes, but they're not usually put that way. But, if you just do this, even a beginner can do this, and, and it works, and works for so many people. It's not easy. It's not as easy as people say to make money online. It just isn't. You really have to take what's called massive action. It's a term that gets bandied around. I know a lot of very successful entrepreneurs, and they all take massive action. They all work really hard. Now, that doesn't mean they work more than 40 hours a week, but first of all, to build up their business, they probably worked more than 40 hours a week. They might have gotten to a point where they don't have to anymore. And when they're working on something, they focus really hard and just work really, really hard. I see what people do with these, like $1 million launches, and how months go into preparing it, and how intense it is during that time, what is necessary to make that money. So you do need to take massive action. And the other thing is, specifically with being an online entrepreneur, there's the technology we all know, and somehow you're going to have to deal with it. You're either going to have to learn it yourself, find someone to teach you, or hire somebody, or delegate it. So one of those things has to be done. There is technology that you have to use, and so some people try to avoid that, I think. Another thing is what I call consistency and persistency. And persistence, I guess, is the right word. You have to keep tweaking, keep trying. You have to be consistent. Yesterday, one of the speakers in the conference I'm running talked about how just being consistent gives you authority, makes people realize that you're in business. It's not a fly-by-night thing, and that really affects your success. So being consistent, she was talking about email marketing, but it could be anything that you're doing. Being persistent, trying new things. Very few people succeed on their first effort. So you have to keep on trying. And the last thing I wanted to say, maybe the second to last thing, is that you should get good advice and follow it. So don't reach for the too good to be true promises. You might want to get coaching, or you might want to join a mastermind. Some of these don't have to be expensive necessarily, or you just when it comes to a mastermind, you can create your own group pretty easily with people who have a variety of levels of experience. Look at your past efforts and see why you might not have succeeded. Try to do like they call it a post-mortem, like an analysis afterwards, and try to figure out, maybe you didn't have a good message. Maybe the audience wasn't right. Maybe your offer wasn't very good. Maybe you just didn't market it hard enough. Maybe you didn't have people helping you, partnering with you to help you market it. So, and there are other things that I've seen in people. So I see people who have trouble making a decision and following through on things. Okay, either they're just too dependent on other people. I was talking about getting good advice, but sometimes people are just always asking other people, and then they can never really make a decision on their own. Maybe you couldn't focus enough to the end. You didn't stick with it. Maybe you spend too much time pleasing other people, fulfilling obligations to others, and then don't spend enough time on your own business and promoting yourself. Some people are afraid to ask for the sale. Maybe you didn't do enough research. So all of those things, it's a lot of things to talk about, but I think that when you look at yourself and think about your past influences and focus and work hard and get good advice, and then are persistent and consistent with what you do, that will do a lot to help you be successful. And I wish that for you. Bye-bye.